I need you to stop scrolling for the next 30 minutes and actually pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because right now today there are 30 specific survival items that every serious prepper in this country is quietly adding to their stockpile before the window closes. Not because of some far-fetched doomsday scenario, because of a very simple, very predictable economic reality that is already happening and is already showing up in your grocery store, your hardware store, and your online shopping cart. Prices are going up. Not the kind of vague, temporary increase that levels off after a few months. We are talking about structural, long-term price increases driven by forces that are not going away anytime soon. And the people who understand this, the smart preppers, the ones who have been through disruptions before and learned from them, are moving now. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now. So here is what I'm going to do in this video. I am going to give you 30 items. For each one, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, why the price on it is going up, or why it is becoming harder to find, and exactly what you should do about it right now. This is not a wish list. This is a working action plan. Let us get into it. Item number 1. Personal water filtration system. The single most critical survival need for any human being is clean drinking water. You can survive weeks without food. You will not last more than 3 days without water. And yet the vast majority of American households have absolutely no reliable way to filter or purify water if municipal supply is disrupted. Personal water filtration systems, the kind that filter down to 0.1 microns and remove bacteria, protozoa, and microplastics from virtually any water source, have seen their prices increase by between 20 and 40% over the past 2 years. The primary reason is that the filtration membrane materials used in these devices are manufactured in a small number of facilities in Asia, and both the raw material costs and the shipping costs associated with those components have risen sharply. Get one filtration system per person in your household. Keep a spare. These devices will filter hundreds of thousands of gallons over their lifetime, making them one of the highest value preparedness purchases you can make on a per-use basis. Do not wait. The next price increase is already priced in. Item number 2. Large capacity water storage containers. Filtration gets you water from any source, but storage gets you water right now, without needing to find a source. Water storage barrels, stackable water containers, and emergency water storage tanks have all seen significant price increases as raw plastic and manufacturing costs have risen. A family of 4 needs a minimum of 1 gallon of water per person per day just for drinking and basic sanitation. For a 30-day supply, that is 120 gallons. That sounds like a lot until you price out what it costs to buy that storage capacity today versus what it will cost in another year. Buy your containers now, fill them with tap water treated with a small amount of unscented household bleach, and rotate that supply every 6 to 12 months. Item number 3. Hand crank emergency weather radio. During any major emergency, a hurricane, an ice storm, a regional power outage, a civil disruption, your cell phone becomes unreliable almost immediately. Networks get overloaded, towers go down, batteries die. A hand crank emergency weather radio receives official government emergency broadcasts on dedicated frequencies that operate independently of the commercial communication grid. These radios have tripled in price from the early 2010s to today, driven by increased demand and rising costs for the electronic components inside them. A good hand crank weather radio costs between $30 and $60 right now. That is a price point that will be considerably higher within the next year at current trends. Buy one for your home and one for your vehicle. Item number 4. High-capacity portable solar charger. A quality solar charging panel that can charge your phone, your rechargeable batteries, and your essential small electronics from sunlight is one of the most versatile and underrated preparedness items available. The solar panel market has been experiencing significant supply volatility driven by shifting trade policies around panel components, many of which are manufactured in a small number of countries, subject to ongoing tariff disputes. Prices on quality portable solar chargers have fluctuated dramatically over the past 18 months. The trajectory is upward. Get one now, understand how to use it, and integrate it into your preparedness plan. The ability to maintain communication and basic lighting without grid power is genuinely transformative in an emergency situation. Item number 5. Trauma-level first aid kit. Standard first aid kits with bandages and antiseptic wipes are not going to cut it in a serious emergency. What you need is a trauma-capable kit, one that includes a tourniquet, wound packing gauze, chest seals, and the ability to manage serious injuries before professional medical help can reach you. The components inside these kits, particularly the hemostatic gauze and the pressure tourniquets that have proven critical in civilian emergency situations, are primarily manufactured in the United States, but use raw materials that are subject to significant import cost pressures. Prices have been rising steadily. More importantly, the knowledge to use these items effectively is free. Take a basic hemorrhage control course. Know how to pack a wound. Know how to apply a tourniquet correctly. The kit is only as valuable as the training that goes with it. Item number 6. Stockpile of over-the-counter medications. Pain relievers, anti-diarrheal tablets, antihistamines, antacids, electrolyte packets. These are the over-the-counter medications that form the backbone of any serious medical preparedness plan. And virtually every one of them has seen meaningful price increases over the past 3 years. The active pharmaceutical ingredients in most over-the-counter medications are manufactured primarily in China and India. Tariff pressures on pharmaceutical imports, combined with rising raw material costs in those countries, have pushed prices at the retail level steadily higher. Buy a 3-month supply of every over-the-counter medication your family regularly uses. Store them in a cool, dark location and check expiration dates annually. Rotate your supply. This is inexpensive insurance against a situation where pharmacies are inaccessible or supply chains are disrupted. Item number 7. N95 respirator masks in bulk. If the pandemic taught us anything, it is that respirator masks disappear from store shelves with breathtaking speed the moment people feel they need them. And panic buying is not the only threat to supply. The manufacturing of N95-rated respirator masks is concentrated in a relatively small number of facilities globally, and the supply chain for those masks remains far more fragile than most people appreciate. Beyond pandemic scenarios, respirator masks are genuinely essential for wildfire smoke, chemical spills, infrastructure failures, and a range of other realistic emergency scenarios. Buy them in bulk now, while they are available and affordable. A box of 20 N95 masks costs between $15 and $30 today. Store them sealed in their original packaging, and they will hold their protective rating for years. Item number 8. Nitrile examination gloves in bulk. Nitrile gloves became impossible to find and extraordinarily expensive during the early months of 2020. They are back on shelves now, but the underlying supply dynamics have not fundamentally changed. The manufacturing of nitrile gloves is concentrated in a small number of countries in Southeast Asia, and those supply chains remain vulnerable to disruption. Beyond infection control, nitrile gloves are useful for first aid, handling hazardous materials, working on vehicles, and dozens of other emergency preparedness tasks. Buy them in bulk. A case of 1,000 gloves costs between $30 and $50 at current prices, and that represents an extraordinary amount of protective utility per dollar spent. Item number 9. Mylar storage bags and oxygen absorbers. This is the item that separates serious preppers from casual stockpilers. Mylar bags. The aluminized plastic bags used to package long-term food storage, combined with oxygen absorbers, can extend the shelf life of dry goods like rice, beans, flour, oats, and pasta from 1 to 3 years, all the way to 25 to 30 years. The cost of mylar bags and oxygen absorbers has risen substantially over the past 3 years, driven by increases in the cost of the aluminum laminate material used to manufacture them, and by dramatically increased consumer demand. If you are building a serious long-term food storage program, and you absolutely should be, buy your mylar bags and oxygen absorbers now. Prices are only going in one direction. Item number 10. Food-grade 5-gallon buckets with airtight lids. You cannot use your mylar bags without a rigid container to protect them. Food-grade 5-gallon buckets with gamma seal lids are the standard solution used by serious preppers around the world. Gamma seal lids are the threaded, screw-top style that allows you to access the bucket repeatedly without compromising the seal. Plastic resin prices, which directly determine the cost of these buckets, have been volatile and generally trending upward. Gamma seal lids in particular have seen significant price increases. Buy them now and buy extra. You will use every single one. Item number 11. Propane camping stove and extra fuel canisters. A reliable way to cook food and boil water when the power grid is down is not optional. It is essential. A quality propane camping stove is the single most practical cooking solution for most American households in an emergency. It requires no special skill, works in almost any weather condition, and uses the same propane fuel that is widely available at hardware stores and gas stations. Propane prices have been rising steadily as natural gas prices fluctuate, and as the processing and distribution infrastructure for liquefied petroleum gas faces both capacity and regulatory pressures. Buy a quality 2-burner propane stove and stock at minimum a 3-month supply of fuel canisters. Store fuel canisters in a cool location away from any heat sources, and check canisters annually for leaks. Item number 12. Cast iron cookware. Cast iron skillets and Dutch ovens are some of the most durable, versatile and long-lasting cooking implements ever made. A well-maintained cast iron skillet will outlast everyone in your household by generations. It can be used on a propane stove, over an open fire, on a wood stove, or in any conventional oven. It requires no non-stick coating and improves with use over time. Cast iron cookware prices have increased as raw iron costs and domestic foundry production costs have both risen. More importantly, the number of manufacturers producing quality cast iron cookware in the United States has declined. Buy at least one quality cast iron skillet and one cast iron Dutch oven now. This is not a disposable item. It is a generational tool. Item number 13. Manual hand crank can opener. This one sounds almost too simple to mention. But if your food storage plan includes any canned goods at all, and it absolutely should, and you lose power for an extended period, you need a reliable way to open those cans that does not require electricity. Electric can openers are useless when the grid is down. Buy 3 high-quality manual can openers right now. Put one in your kitchen, one in your emergency bag, and one in your vehicle. They cost between $5 and $15 each. Prices on even basic tools like this have risen meaningfully as the steel and manufacturing costs embedded in them have increased. This is one of the simplest and most important items on this entire list. Item number 14. Manual grain mill. If you have flour, wheat berries, oats, or corn in your long-term storage, and you should, a manual grain mill gives you the ability to process whole grains into usable flour without any electricity whatsoever. This is the difference between having a bucket of hard red winter wheat in your basement that you cannot actually use, and having the ability to produce fresh flour for bread and other baked goods indefinitely. Quality manual grain mills have seen significant price increases as demand has grown, and as the cast iron and steel components inside them have become more expensive. A good entry-level manual grain mill costs between $150 and $300 today. That price is going up. It is worth every penny. Item number 15. Fire starting equipment. The ability to reliably start a fire is one of the most fundamental survival skills and one of the most overlooked preparedness items. Fire gives you warmth, the ability to cook food, the ability to boil and purify water, light, and a significant psychological boost in difficult circumstances. Your fire-starting kit should include at minimum a ferro rod, a ferrocerium rod that produces intense sparks capable of igniting tinder in any weather condition, as well as waterproof matches, a quality lighter, and natural fire tinder such as petroleum jelly-soaked cotton balls stored in a sealed container. None of these items are expensive individually, but quality ferrocerium rods and waterproof matches have both seen price increases as import costs have risen. Stock up now on all of these components. Item number 16. Headlamps and rechargeable batteries. When the power goes out, headlamps are dramatically more practical than handheld flashlights. A headlamp keeps both your hands free, which matters enormously when you are trying to work in the dark. Whether that means caring for family members, operating your stove, or navigating your home safely. Buy one headlamp per person in your household plus 2 spares. And critically, invest in a system based on rechargeable batteries that can be powered by your solar charger. The cost of both headlamps and quality rechargeable batteries has risen significantly over the past 2 years as lithium and other battery component prices have increased. Establish your lighting system now at current prices. Item number 17. Quality multi-tool. A multi-tool, a compact folding device that combines pliers, multiple knife blades, screwdrivers, a saw, a file, and other implements in a single package, is one of the most versatile and genuinely useful items in any preparedness kit. In an emergency situation, the ability to improvise, repair, and adapt is enormously valuable, and a quality multi-tool dramatically expands your capability to do all three. Quality multi-tools from reputable manufacturers have seen price increases of between 20% and 40% over the past 3 years, as the cost of the steel alloys used in their blades and components has risen. Buy one primary multi-tool for your home kit and a secondary unit for your vehicle. These are lifetime tools if you buy quality. Item number 18. 550 paracord. Paracord, originally developed for parachute suspension lines, is one of the most versatile cordage materials ever created. With a breaking strength of 550 pounds and an inner core of 7 separate nylon strands that can be removed for finer work, paracord has literally hundreds of practical applications in survival and emergency situations. It can be used to build shelter, secure gear, create trip lines, improvise repairs, replace broken shoelaces, hang food out of reach of animals, and dozens of other tasks. Buy at minimum 200 feet of genuine military specification 550 paracord now. Nylon prices and the manufacturing costs associated with braided cordage have both risen. The difference in price between genuine specification paracord and cheap imitations matters enormously when it comes to actual load-bearing applications. Item number 19. Duct tape. Duct tape is the single most versatile repair material available to the average person. It can seal cracks in windows and doors, repair torn tarps and tents, improvise bandages in emergency situations, seal leaking pipes temporarily, secure splints, mark trails, and perform an almost unlimited range of emergency repair functions. The adhesive compounds and the woven fabric backing in quality duct tape are subject to the same raw material cost pressures as everything else on this list. Buy several large rolls now, the genuine, full-strength professional-grade variety, not the thin consumer rolls. Store them in a cool location to preserve the adhesive. This is one of those items where having more than you think you need is always the right call. Item number 20. Heavy-duty work gloves and leather gloves. In any extended emergency situation, clearing debris after a storm, gathering firewood, working on vehicles or structures, or handling materials that could cause injury, your hands are your most valuable tools. And they are remarkably easy to injure without proper protection. Heavy-duty leather work gloves provide cut resistance, abrasion protection, and thermal protection that synthetic gloves simply cannot match for most practical work applications. Leather prices have been rising steadily as cattle supply has tightened across North America. Buy several pairs in your size now and store them sealed in a bag to keep them supple. Include thinner glove liners for cold weather layering. Item number 21. Unscented liquid household bleach. Standard unscented household bleach, sodium hypochlorite solution, is one of the most versatile and inexpensive preparedness items available. It can disinfect water for drinking, sanitize surfaces and food preparation equipment, treat wounds in emergency situations, and perform a wide range of sanitation functions that become critically important when normal infrastructure is disrupted. The catch: bleach has a relatively short effective shelf life. After 6 to 12 months, the sodium hypochlorite concentration degrades, and it loses effectiveness. Buy it regularly, rotate it consistently, and always verify that the bleach you are using for water treatment is unscented, with no added thickeners or cleaners. Price increases on bleach have tracked general chemical manufacturing cost increases. Stock what you need now and keep rotating it. Item number 22. Potassium iodide tablets. This one surprises people every time, but it belongs on this list, and I want to explain exactly why. Potassium iodide tablets are the government-recommended protective measure for thyroid protection in the event of a nuclear facility accident or any emergency involving radioactive iodine release. They saturate the thyroid gland with stable iodine, preventing the absorption of radioactive iodine. There are currently over 90 commercial nuclear power reactors operating in the United States. Millions of Americans live within the distribution zones for emergency potassium iodide. And yet most of those families have never acquired the tablets that their own government recommends they keep on hand. Prices on potassium iodide have risen substantially as awareness of this gap has grown. Do not wait to address this one. Item number 23. Printed road maps and baseplate compass. In any scenario where cell service, internet access, or global positioning satellite signal is unavailable, your digital maps are useless. A printed road map of your state and your region, combined with a quality baseplate compass and the basic knowledge of how to use them together, gives you navigation capability that no technology disruption can take away from you. Printed maps are cheap today. A quality baseplate compass costs between $10 and $30. These items do not expire, do not require batteries, and do not depend on any infrastructure whatsoever. Buy them now, store them in a waterproof case, and spend 30 minutes learning how to take a bearing and follow it on a map. That 30 minutes of learning could be the most valuable 30 minutes you spend this year. Item number 24. Portable dual-fuel generator. A portable generator that can run on both gasoline and propane gives your household the ability to power refrigeration, lighting, medical equipment, and communication devices during an extended grid outage. The dual-fuel capability is critical because it means you are not dependent on a single fuel source. If gasoline is unavailable or rationed, you can run on propane from the same supply you use for your stove. Generator prices have been rising for several years, driven by increases in the cost of the small engines and alternators inside them, most of which rely on components manufactured abroad. A quality dual-fuel generator in the 3,000 to 5,000 watt range costs between $400 and $800 at current prices. That number is going up. If this is in your budget, now is the time to act. Item number 25. Cash in small denomination bills. This one is not a physical survival tool, but it belongs on this list because it is one of the most immediately impactful preparedness steps any family can take. In any situation where electronic payment systems are unavailable, whether because of a power outage, a banking system disruption, or a cyber attack on financial infrastructure, cash is king. And specifically, small denomination bills are king. A $100 bill is useless if the person you need to transact with cannot make change. Keep a minimum of 2 weeks' worth of typical daily expenses in cash at home, in mixed denominations with a significant number of ones, fives, tens, and 20s. Keep this cash physically secure and separate from your wallet. Do not tell people you have it. Review it regularly and replenish it if you spend any of it. Item number 26. Spare eyeglasses or contact lens supplies. This is the preparedness item that people with vision correction almost universally overlook, and it is one of the most genuinely dangerous gaps in most household preparedness plans. If you wear glasses or contact lenses and you cannot access your prescription, your ability to function in an emergency situation is dramatically compromised. Talk to your eye care provider about getting a backup pair of glasses with your current prescription. If you wear contact lenses, maintain at minimum a 3-month supply of lenses and lens care solution. The cost of prescription eyewear has been rising steadily as the lens materials and the retail optometry business have both experienced inflation. Address this gap now. Do not let it be the vulnerability that defeats you when everything else in your preparedness plan is solid. Item number 27. Children's medications and infant supplies. If you have children in your household, your preparedness needs are fundamentally different from a household without children. Children's pain relievers, fever reducers, allergy medications, and digestive medications are all essential to have in adequate supply. And if you have an infant, the stakes are even higher. Formula, diapers, rash treatments, and other infant-specific supplies are not substitutable. During the baby formula shortage of 2022, families across the country experienced firsthand how quickly an essential supply for their most vulnerable family members could become genuinely unavailable. Do not let that lesson go unlearned. Maintain a minimum 30-day supply of every medication and supply your children depend on. Extend that to 90 days if possible. Item number 28. High-quality daily multivitamins. In an extended emergency situation, the nutritional quality of your diet is almost certainly going to decline. You will be relying more heavily on shelf-stable foods that, while calorie-sufficient, may be deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. A high-quality daily multivitamin bridging those nutritional gaps can make a meaningful difference in how you feel and function over an extended period of disruption. Supplement prices have been rising, driven by the same pharmaceutical ingredient supply chain pressures I mentioned earlier. Buy a 1-year supply for every adult and child in your household. Store them in a cool, dark location. Rotate annually. This is genuinely inexpensive insurance for something that matters a great deal. Item number 29. Barter-ready trade items. This is the category that separates the deeply strategic preppers from the everyone else preppers. In any extended emergency situation where normal commerce is disrupted, certain items become extraordinarily valuable as trade goods. Not because you intend to build a black market operation, but because the ability to trade something you have for something you need is a fundamental survival skill that human beings have practiced for literally all of recorded history. The best barter items share several characteristics. They are small, they are universally desired, they do not spoil, and they are cheap to acquire in bulk right now. Quality disposable lighters. Small, sealed packages of over-the-counter pain reliever. Sealed travel-size hygiene products. Packets of instant coffee. Small bottles of spirits. These items cost pennies each when bought in bulk, and they become extraordinarily valuable when the normal supply chain for them is disrupted. Set aside a dedicated box of these items and do not touch it for any other purpose. The 30th item on this list is the one that the tactical-focused prepper community almost always dismisses, and that dismissal is a serious mistake. In any genuine extended emergency situation, psychological resilience is just as critical as physical preparedness. People who are comfortable, whose morale is intact, who have small pleasures and familiar routines available to them, make better decisions, sleep better, and maintain the social cohesion of their household far more effectively than people who are miserable and deprived. Comfort items look different for every household. A supply of your family's favorite candy or chocolate. A deck of playing cards and a set of board games, physical books. A journal and quality pens. Instant coffee or tea. Small bottles of hot sauce. Familiar spices. None of these items are expensive individually, but together they form a crucial buffer against the psychological weight of a difficult situation. Budget for them. Buy them intentionally. Do not treat them as optional. There you have it, 30 items. Some of them are obvious, and you probably already have a few on hand. Some of them surprised you. And if you are being honest with yourself right now, there are probably at least 10 items on this list that you do not currently have in any meaningful quantity. Here is the action I want you to take right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. Take a piece of paper or open the Notes app on your phone. Write down every item from this list that you have a 30-day supply of and put a check mark next to it. Everything without a check mark is a gap, a vulnerability, a bet that nothing disrupts your access to that item before you get around to addressing it. Then pick the 3 most critical gaps on your list, the ones that would affect your family's basic safety, health, or ability to function if a disruption happened tonight. And commit to addressing those 3 gaps this week. Just 3 items, that is all. The reason smart preppers succeed is not because they buy everything at once in a panic. It is because they build their preparedness systematically, week by week, item by item, until one day they look at their home and realize that their family is genuinely secure in a way that 95% of the people around them are not. That is what this channel is about. Practical, specific, no-nonsense preparedness that real families can actually execute. If that is the kind of content you want in your life, and based on the fact that you are still watching, I think it probably is hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, because every single week I am putting out videos that will give you another piece of the puzzle. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 30 items is the one you are going to go get this week? One item. Tell me in the comments. That one comment is a commitment you are making to your family's security, and this community will hold you to it. I will see you in the next one. Stay ready.